Starting. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Mining for Spirits. It's just us tonight.
Yay!
Yeah, and today we're going to talk about, a very cool investigation we did last weekend. We went to Ohio, Trinway, and it is the location of Prospect Place. So
It was a very unique building. A lot of energy.
I like the architecture there. Really cool.
He likes abandoned stuff, and it looked well. They're starting to restore it, so it's not gonna look abandoned for long.
It's not completely abandoned, but it'll be neat to see. The building sat empty for like 30 years, and it's in kind of rough shape. They are working on it, and it'll be interesting to see later on how much improvement they do.
So if you ever get the chance, make sure you go check it out, and the money goes towards restoring it, so that's why we have no problem to keep going back.
That's right. So if you've never heard of Prospect Place, because I had not before.
And,
I had not. But if you've never heard of it, it was built in 1856 by G.W. Adams. His family was prominent in the Ohio area. They had a flour mill, so they would, make flour in the mill, ship it down the Ohio River.
Yes.
And basically, they were very wealthy people, and they built the mansion. And I think 1856 was when the original mansion was built. The mansion was actually built, and before they could move into it, a bricklayer burnt it. He burned it down thinking that he was going to make more work for himself.
It was built in 1842.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
But the bricklayer burned it down thinking he would have more work to do and make more money, I guess. But they basically rebuilt the same exact house on the same foundation. And one of the reasons it's historically important is it was a major spot in Ohio for the Underground Railroad. So G.W. Adams was very much against slavery. He was an abolitionist, and he was actually a prominent politician. He worked very hard to end slavery, and the basement of that building was used heavily during the Civil War to transport slaves. So some other cool things about the building itself, it was one of the first buildings in the area to have plumbing.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of houses had plumbing back then.
They knew how to keep their house cool.
Yeah, they had they called it a primitive air conditioning system. It was just a series of ducts that would run on the outside of the house from the basement, and it was supposed to help transport the cool air from the basement up to the other floors. I don't know how well that worked. It was pretty warm when we were there.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's not in working order like it was back in the day.
It wasn't really a machine, though. It was just ducts.
Well.
But regardless, it's a little bit of history on it. Yeah, so what are some of the paranormal things that we can talk about?
Well, do you want me to go over what I was picking up on before we went on to the property?
You should.
Okay, so obviously Eric drove, and we were going, and when we were pulling into the driveway, I asked, because I seen an African American family, and I said, was part of the Underground Railroad. And Eric hadn't said anything yet, and we were driving up, and I said, I'm picking up on the name Clarissa or Clarice.
Yeah.
And Eric's like, I have no idea. He goes, do you want me to tell you anything yet? And I said, well, obviously. So it was part of the Underground Railroad, obviously, as he just told you. And later on, we found out that the Clarice / Clarissa name I was picking up on was G.W. Adams' first wife, who died in 1853, 54.
That I don't know. I didn't write that down.
But they had 4 kids together before he got remarried.
That's right. And she also was picking up on fire.
1853.
You mentioned fire.
Yeah.
As well. So that obviously, the first house was burned down. There is rumored that there was a hanging in the barn section, but there's no historical evidence of that. But then again, when you're dealing with slaves and the Underground Railroad, that was illegal. So you didn't really document those types of things.
It was where I guess the helpers got a hold of a bounty hunter and hung him from the barn. Well, hanged.
Yeah, basically, a bounty hunter shows up looking for slaves. G.W. Adams comes out with a gun, and his farmhands pretty much had his back on that one. So that was one thing that it mentioned. G.W. Adams took over the estate from his father when he died. But one thing he was always uncomfortable with was slavery, because I'm assuming they had slaves before that at the plantation. It was a huge, I believe it was like 500-acre farm they had.
The mansion?
Originally.
Oh.
It's like a 500-acre plantation. And they really, he didn't really care for slavery. He decided to put a stop to it. He was an abolitionist, and like I said, they transported a lot down the river. They ran to New Orleans a lot, and actually they would store slaves in the bottom of their boats when they brought them up, and then they would, hide them in the basement area.
Yeah.
And the basement area, being that it's the Underground Railroad, is actually a pretty nice place for the slaves to be. I'm sure they were hidden in a lot dirtier, darker places than what they actually were, down there. Because actually somewhat comfortable in that section, but
I thought I was supposed to have the chat up. Sorry.
Did you just kill us?
Maybe. No, we're live now. See?
It says that. Here come your text messages. We don't see you anymore. Where'd you go? Well, I guess it was recorded.
Well, you said about the...
You can't close out of that. Your chat's right here.
Oh.
I'm the tech guy here.
And I told him to have the laptop, but whatever.
You wanted to do the chat. Ahead. Nobody talks to me in the chat. So why would I have it?
Well, that makes no sense. Nobody's talking to me either. So moving along.
Anyways, that is the historical segment of it. But but you want to talk a little bit about the paranormal segment of it, because that's kind of what we're here to do. That was the purpose of us going out there. I could go out there just for the architecture and the cool pictures, but
yeah,
we had other stuff we went out there for too.
Obviously, we will be talking about the paranormal aspects too, but there's no time limit. I mean,
well, I just talked about the history, so what's that leave?
Well, now we can get started on the paranormal aspect of the show. The beginning, after we did the walkthrough, we all met pretty much in the foyer there. And a certain half of the team went and did their own thing, and a couple of us just stuck around there. And Gina ended up having a FLIR and hooking it into her phone. And Eric they were catching a cold spot, so Eric went up, and this cold spot would linger around Eric, and then it would come down the steps by Jason, because Jason was at the bottom. So
Right.
it'd go between the two guys, but as soon as I went down there, it went away.
Yeah, and it was warm in there.
Yeah, there was no reason for it to. And the temperature dropped to 64
It
and
was definitely
63.
I wish it was 64 in there. It's the funny thing is though, um, I didn't feel any cold spots. You guys said it was right next to me, but I didn't feel anything. And I don't recall Jason feeling anything. But yeah, we probably should. We went with what? There was 9 of us. There was us, Gina,
Sheila, Mike,
Amber, Sheila, Mike, Jason.
Mike's mom, and Mike's sister.
Right. So the majority of them were in the basement when we first started. Now this wasn't. I don't think Gina's thing was a FLIR, but it was like a FLIR. It was a thermal detection, but it wasn't a FLIR. Because I know when I called it a FLIR, she's like, it's not a FLIR.
Oh, okay. My bad. I mean, it's the same, basically the same damn
I
thing.
thought so too. And she's like, this isn't a FLIR. Like,
Same
okay.
thing, Gina. Same thing.
But yeah, it's like I said, I didn't feel anything different, but you would think heat would rise. And there's not a whole lot of ventilation in the building because it was pre-air conditioning. Like I said, it did have that uh, primitive air conditioning where it was routed from the outside into the other rooms, but there wouldn't be any like major airflow going on there to swirl the air to make temperature changes occur.
Well, we had fans going, but we even turned the fans off.
Yeah, yeah, we turned the fans off. So.
And it was so hot that evening that there was no air circulating through that house.
It was hot. It was probably like 80 in the top part. Might have
if
been
not
warmer.
more.
Might have been warmer, yeah.
But Mike, he slept in the watchtower, so.
Yeah, which I guess there's like 3 main floors and then a watchtower up top. And the view is amazing. It's a watchtower. You can see everything around, and it's surrounded by nothing but fields.
Well, why don't you tell him what the watchtower was used for?
Well, the watchtower was just that. It was a watchtower. And it was used basically, they would look out through the fields, because like I said, it was nothing but a huge plantation at the time. And if they would see the lanterns from the Underground Railroad, they would turn their lanterns on in the watchtower to alert them that it was safe to come in and that they could come into the basement. So that's what the watchtower was. And it is rumored that if you put a lantern in the watchtower and stomp your foot, that you can get activity in the basement. It ramps things up. We tried that. I don't know that we got anything.
I think it decreased it.
Yeah. Maybe we scared something. Maybe Mike stomped his foot too hard. Calm it down next time.
I think we asked Sheila too. We're like, I think Mike asked Sheila, "Did you hear me last night?" Because they went to bed earlier. But I mean, I thought Mike's setup was pretty cool.
Yeah, Mike had basically the simplest way I can put it was like a Kinect that you have on the Xbox that detects your motion and everything. It was hooked up to like a tablet, and it would track motion, but it would basically, when it picked up on something, it would create an outline like a stick figure almost. So obviously, if you're on the camera and you see a stick figure for you, well, that makes sense. But if you see a stick figure appearing next to you on the Kinect and there's nothing there, then that's kind of considered an anomaly. And
We had quite a few.
it was a neat. Sometimes I think you get a couple false positives, but
But when you
it's
tell
newer
something
technology.
to lift its arm and it
Yeah,
does, I mean,
yeah, because
that's.
it looks, if it takes the shape of like a body and it has two arms and a head and everything, you tell it to move a certain limb and it can do that. That's almost too coincidental to be. It's just paranormal. That's the best way to put it. But I mean, the Kinect was cool, and I'll actually on some of the night vision clips that I had on my camera, you can see how the Kinect works. It basically puts out a bunch of infrared, I believe. It sends out a bunch of infrared dots, almost like a laser grid, but you can't see it. It's an invisible laser grid.
Mhm.
The infrared camera can pick it up, but your eye can't, and that's essentially how it works.
And we will have a evidence video coming out on that as well once we get through everything and our team gets through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We
that way we can
yeah.
put it all together.
Well, we investigated for like 15 hours, so there's a lot of footage to go through, a lot of edits.
It wasn't quite 15 hours.
It basically was. We got there at 7, left at 10. That's 15 hours.
But we didn't investigate the whole time.
Okay, so it was like 12. That's still a lot.
The spirits in the cellar seem to really take to our teammate Amber. She was sitting in the doorway and she got cold. And when I think Sheila had it at the time, when she turned it to Amber, a stick figure, I guess it was, appeared right beside her. And Sheila would ask questions to this thing that was on the camera,
Yeah.
and it would respond back to her by lifting whatever arm she asked, or, you know. But the weird thing is, it always tried to go to her energy. Like, I don't know if it needed all of her energy or what.
It's possible, yeah. I know she said she got the feeling of love or being hugged
Mm-hmm.
and all that, and it was neat to see that. Um, I don't believe I picked up anything on the night vision that was out of the ordinary.
We really
Um,
didn't go through all that right now,
yeah,
though.
there's a lot of stuff that we haven't even had a chance to look at. It's been a hectic week with the holiday and all, and
This is our month
there
home,
is
so.
a lot of footage there. So we don't have big crews and all that good stuff to go through, and just let them go. But that's basically my excuse for not having anything ready. I we do have a lot of pictures. I do want to post not just pictures, but a more in-depth historical presentation about it because it is very important in our nation's history.
The one thing that I thought was pretty unique was when we were all in the cellar, we heard a thud upstairs, and then all the activity in the cellar just ceased.
Yeah, and that was for me personally. That was the only experience I had.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, apart from what you guys were getting on the Connect and everything, as far as like physically that I experienced, that was it. Not that, I never have an abundance of experiences anywhere I go. But, I mean, the house is way too old to be settling at that point, I would imagine.
Well, that only happened once, and it was like, it seemed to me, and I think Mike even said that, it would make sense, is that when somebody would be coming to the house, whether it be a bounty hunter or, somebody searching for the slaves, um, they would stomp their foot on the floor to let them know that they had to be quiet or to escape out of the window. So maybe somebody was warning them that somebody was near.
It could be. It's a plausible theory. Makes sense. One thing we know for sure is there was nobody upstairs above us, and we couldn't find a good explanation for it. But we all heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it came through on the camera too, so that'll be included in there as well. I mean, that was. I mean, you guys heard footsteps. Um, I was asleep. Once I'm out, I'm out.
Well,
But
yeah. We slept on the second floor in the daughter's room, and Sheila and her sister-in-law were across the room from us. And it was probably like it had to be after 4 because I wasn't sleeping yet, but I was. I don't know how to explain it. Like you're asleep, but you're not asleep.
you weren't getting your REM sleep.
Right.
You were kind of in a daze.
So I heard boots coming down the steps, the third flight of steps, and they stopped at the door. And I thought, well, Mike must have had to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And our light was on because Amber was supposed to come back in an hour, take a cat nap, come back in an hour, and we continued to investigate. But she obviously did not do that. So the light stayed on. So I thought maybe Mike came down to check in to make sure everything was okay. And I didn't look up at the time because I figured, well, it's just Mike, whatever.
Right.
And then I heard the boots go down the second flight of steps. And I thought, wow, okay, he was going to the bathroom. But I never heard them go the whole way down, and I never heard the boots come back up.
Yeah, he never returned.
But I never put that together until now. But the next morning, I said, oh, Mike, did you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? And he's like, well, that wasn't until like 5. And I'm like, oh, no, this was like 4, maybe a little later, but not nowhere near 5. Well, here, Mike's sister also heard the boot footsteps, and when I looked down at Mike's feet, he had tennis shoes on. So,
Yeah.
Obviously wasn't Mike. And the only one that had boots on was Amber, and Amber was dead asleep. So.
Yeah, that one thing about that place as opposed to a lot of other older places we go, the floors are really solid there. And another thing about it too is the the building when they rebuild it, they put about 2 inches thick of mortar between the first and the second floor to kind of fireproof it, so someone couldn't burn it down again like they did before. So that also works well as a sound barrier.
Yeah.
So you're not getting, like when we do Jenny Wade, love Jenny Wade, but those floors are original upstairs and they creak like crazy. But, this was, honestly, this house at the time it was built was the best of the best of everything. It was basically a state of the art home.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. The worst thing about it
Diesel
was that because it was a older place and because it was abandoned for so long that pigeons were taken over and stuff. So that when you were on the third floor, you heard the pigeons a lot more. And it was funny because actually, when we got back that night, I was watching the Ghost Adventures guys doing the investigation, and they kept getting these EVPs of, we caught an unexplained female voice, or we had someone laughing or something, and every single one of them, if you didn't go there, you wouldn't know this, but every single one of them was just pigeons. To be there and to hear the pigeons and how they sound when they're like, because they're kind of up in the rafters a little bit in certain spots, and to hear that, I have no doubt in my mind that what they were capturing was pigeons, and it was comical. But that was the only downside because you had to kind of take everything you got in the third floor with a grain of salt
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't know if it was pigeons making noise or usually, but you could tell what we were hearing on the second floor and what we heard in the basement wasn't pigeons.
No, I was wishing the ducky moved. They
Yeah,
had
there
this
was
little
toys.
wooden ducky toy, and I would run around the room with it.
Yeah, yeah, they were. We had about a 30-minute playtime there. Sometimes if you do that kind of a thing, you can stir up some energy. If there's kids there and you're playing games or you're playing with toys, you can stir something up. But it didn't work.
No.
We could not get the.
And I read a lot of reviews on it, and they all talk about the ballroom, but we did not get anything in the ballroom.
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to though.
Is it the
Is it
pigeons?
the pigeons? Are they
Yeah.
making noise? If you're hearing like knocks or scratches, it could be the pigeons wrestling around in there. Now, there is a new group that took over the mansion, and they're working on restoring it. And I really hope they can get the pigeons out of there because they do kind of they don't do a whole lot of damage to the actual building, but it's not good on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good for the noise too, because if you're trying to do a paranormal investigation, it's you don't want that kind of sound in there. So I really hope that we can.
But that was like the only complaint we had was them making noise. Like,
It wasn't that even that much, but
no.
it's just the idea of the ballroom supposedly an active place. Is it active because people don't realize what they're hearing, or is it active because it's
Yeah,
really
because there
active?
was a couple times where I thought I heard something behind Mike, and then when we listened, it was just the pigeons.
Right. And if you got, see, I don't know. That's why you have me on the team.
Yeah. Well,
Because I'm always a Debbie Downer about stuff.
I actually
I'm not saying that the place
laughed
isn't haunted
hysterically. Oh, the place is definitely
because,
haunted.
yeah, there's evidence that it is. It's just that if you're dealing with certain paranormal teams who just want to say, look at what we got, they might not necessarily do their due diligence and try to debunk certain things. So, and that's the thing. That's what we're trying to do. But we were invited back.
Yeah,
Right?
we were.
So we're going to go back next year, and hopefully there'll be some new stuff for us to check out, some
Yeah,
renovations for us to check out, and I'm excited about it.
I'm excited to go back, and even the way they handled that situation when we weren't even mad. Like, yeah, I'll definitely go back.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
No, and to think that a place like that can do it was awesome. We did not have that kind of luck when we did Bushy Run.
Well, what she's referring to is we just basically the initial people who were in charge of it told us we could be there from certain time to certain time, and then the newer people they do daytime historical tours, so we couldn't be there during the allotted time, which was fine with us. We understood that, but they were nice enough to invite us back and do it again, even though they did tell us we could stay longer. But yeah, it was really nice. The people that are running it seem really great, and they seem like they have a real genuine interest in restoring it back
Mm-hmm.
to its former glory. And I really am curious to see how it turns out when it's all done because
Sheila's in the chat room with us. Sheila, do you have anything to add about our night? Did you um encounter anything or witness anything that we weren't around for? But go ahead. Yeah, I like how they handled that.
Yeah, it was nice, and I mean, that's.
That's a good customer service there.
But yeah, like I was saying, they a new group took over, so they were working on some things,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get to kind of see how it all goes.
The
But
innkeeper was really nice too. I really liked her.
was she the one that came in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was nice. Yeah, it's all volunteer work. So,
Go
and
support
actually,
them.
yeah, actually, you can do the investigation yourself if you want to as
Mm-hmm.
well. It's
$70
yeah,
for 80 or for 80 people. Sorry,
eight.
now $70 for 8 people.
Yeah, it's what a minimum of $560.
Something like 564, I think, or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's 560 minimum, which equals $70 for 8 people.
So Sheila said she had several hits on her K2 meter when asking questions. They're in the process right now of listening to the EVPs.
Yeah, I remember she did say that in the very beginning.
Oh, that's
We
another
forgot she
thing.
was on the second floor.
When we were in the basement, was it the next day? I think it was the next day when we were in the cellar. Um, Amber's K2 went off for a split second and then it was gone. And then that's when I felt like something was around me.
I had it happen once, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell. I didn't have my phone in airplane mode, so I really didn't mention it because was it my phone? They can set off K2s. So that's why I didn't, and it never did do it again, which makes a lot of sense because there's very little electrical in that building.
I still think it had to do with your phone.
It probably did. That's why I didn't really bring it up during evidence and didn't feel it was necessary. But that's one thing. And we also, you guys had feelings in the barn, right? We did actually a couple times see light,
Yeah.
which you guys thought was a road behind the barn. I actually went out and walked around the back of the barn, and there is no road there. There is a house off in the distance that has those lights that go like shine on the house to illuminate it, but for it to make it through all them trees and be as bright as it was, I don't
No.
know about that.
Well, even like, when we were standing in there, I felt something brush up against me and I quickly moved. But it was like I constantly felt like somebody was standing behind me and I literally felt somebody breathe down my neck. And when I looked over to Gina, she even said about there was somebody there with us. So,
Right. And that was another point where you guys said that there was no there was no interaction when the women would ask questions, but I know I asked a couple questions. You said you got a feeling that the bounty hunter um, was responding to me
yeah.
about because I asked how much
Oh,
how much money he
yes.
received per slave.
And I heard right in my head, none of your damn business.
Yeah, and that is I don't know. I don't think we actually caught that on anything. That was just a feeling you got. So
Sheila did say that she felt someone grabbing her leg a couple times while they were doing the tour at the beginning.
hmm,
Maybe a little child spirit, Sheila. I did pick up on a couple of children that were there. Um, and I think I was the only one that picked up on G.W. Adams's first wife.
yeah,
Everybody
that
else said
was
about Constance. And I'm like, no, it's not Constance. Like, that is not
Yeah.
the name that I'm getting.
Even in the episode that we did where we interviewed Sean Kelly, he mentioned Constance, and we talked in that episode about us going to Prospect Place, and she actually left the room and mentioned he mentioned Constance and said that was one of the spirits you had to kind of be on the lookout for. But
I mean, I did see her too, but this lady, his first wife, stood out to me, met me at the gate. I mean, you know,
yeah, that's I don't know.
and everybody's like, no, that name doesn't even sound familiar. And then Wikipedia
Right.
told us all.
Yes. Wikipedia, the most reliable source for everything. But it it just there's something about that place, even though it was kind of outdated and run down. I could have probably just moved right in it. I felt comfortable there, very comfortable.
Well, that's what Sheila said. She said that she felt a very good feeling about the place. No nasty energy.
Yeah, I really don't get that type of a feeling in terms of feeling mentalities or evil or good, but it did feel like
You
very.
were being watched. No matter where you were at, you were definitely being watched.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, there was.
Sheila said she could also move there.
Oh yeah, that was. You know,
I felt pretty at ease. I think this
maybe.
is the one investigation that can say that I mean, my guard was up, but it wasn't like keep looking over your shoulder kind of thing.
It wasn't evil or mean or. Which why would it be? And GWM's actually seemed like he was a pretty good guy historically.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very prominent in the community. He did what he thought was right. He tried to end slavery, which, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Mike, I see you're watching. Do you have anything to conclude?
He said he's going to start building equipment and you can buy it off of him. And he's going to give us commission for it. And we're going to pull all our money together and buy Prospect Place, right?
No.
You know, she wants to go out to move to Gettysburg, not that's the other direction. It's close to Zanesville, if you're familiar with Ohio.
Dresden.
But Dresden's kind of a small town. A lot of people might know Zanesville, but not know Dresden.
Yes, Sheila. There was lots of energy, and you could feel the eyes on you. But I have to say, this was one of my favorite investigations. Um, we had a lot of people that we've investigated with before there, but all at once. And our energies were just awesome together. And, well, the whole pretty much Paranormal Miners team was there. So,
Yeah, it was a. We make a good team. I don't want to mean to pat myself on the back here, all of us, but there's certain people when you work with them, you just get that feeling that things click. You guys, things flow,
mhm,
things click together, and that is
that's exactly what happened.
yeah, and it's just smooth, no issues whatsoever.
-1, but that's for another
That
day.
was way after, but yeah, it's just great.
Yes, we do have an awesome team, Sheila. um, I can't wait to go over all the evidence from Prospect Place just to see everything we picked up on. But from being able to see, hear, and sense things, doing my walkthrough was amazing. I honestly didn't know anything about it, and as soon as we pulled on the property, I'm saying this, this, and this, and Eric's like, "Do you want me to tell you anything?" And then when he started telling me, everything started clicking. Um, the investigation itself went really well. I really wish I would have got up when I heard the footsteps when I thought it was Mike. I'm pretty bummed. Even if I would have caught Mike walking down the steps, I'd be like, "Have a good bathroom break."
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like Sheila said afterwards, like, "Oh, we should have set up that trail camera on the steps," and it's like, crap. You're totally right. We should have. But we're going back, so we got to remember to do that because even if no one's walking down the steps and it goes off and takes a picture,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well, obviously something set it off.
something setting it off. I mean, Mike probably had like 30 pictures of me because when he was doing that
No.
downstairs, I could see it going off, and I'm like, I got to move this because it just seemed weird. But I mean, it'd be nice to have a DVR system set up too. Maybe we can work on getting one of those there before we go back. Um, so if anybody out there wants to buy us a DVR system, just contact us. We are willing to allow you to buy us a DVR system. Heck, you buy us a DVR system, I'll let you come to Prospect Plays with us. What's going on in the chat there?
I'm talking to Kendra right now.
Oh, Kendra's in the chat.
Yeah. She said, "What spirit did you enjoy after the investigation, Eric?"
Spirit is in booze?
Yes.
Oh my. Well, we got back late on Sunday, so I don't think I did any drinking. I've been just sticking to Guinness lately. Sticking to Guinness.
We have to have a spirit party, Kendra,
Spirits
when
and
we come back to
spirits.
Gettysburg.
Yes,
It'll be my birthday weekend.
that's right. It's just, it's all about certain someone telling me I can't drink too much, or, I don't know who does that. But, I have my spirits, you have yours. Is there anything else you want to add about the Prospect Place?
That it's amazing and you should go.
You should go. What's the site? What's their site address? It's right there.
GWAcenter.org.
Yeah, they are working
They
on a new
are,
site.
yes, I was just going to say, they are updating their site.
It's pretty 1990-ish. You'll understand what I mean when you go visit it. But it has the basic information that you need, and you can get connected with them.
Yeah. I'm laughing at Kendra.
Yeah. And it's a non-profit, all the money that you give to them goes into restoring a piece of our history.
Yes. Not to interrupt the Prospect Place, we'll come back to that, but August 4th, 5th, and 6th in Gettysburg, they are having the benefit bash for the Wounded Warriors. Do not miss it. Be a vendor. It's only $100 for 3 days, all 3 days, and it's going to be amazing. And why not give back for somebody that put their life on the line for you, or for those who have died for you?
Yeah. Did you mention it was in Gettysburg?
Yeah.
I just thought you said Battlefield Bash.
Well, if I
People
did
are just
not,
going to be going.
It's in
They're
Gettysburg,
going to be
PA.
going to whatever battlefield's near and being like, "Where's the bash?"
Kendra, the skills I've learned from this investigation is don't doubt myself. When I was picking up on Clarissa's name, everybody's like, no, you must mean Constance. And it's like, no, this is not a Constance name. This is a Clarice or Clarissa. Um, I've also learned though that I need to quit shutting down when I'm not too comfortable or understanding something.
Clarice, like on Hannibal.
Yeah, but her name was Clarissa, not Clarice.
Well, you said
I
either
said
or.
Clarice or Clarissa was her name.
Yeah. What are you doing doubting stuff for? You've been right thus far.
Sheila even said, I fully endorse Prospect Place. Everyone should try it out and support their mission to restore it.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
And if you know what, even if you're not interested in the paranormal aspect of it, which if you're not interested in the paranormal aspect of it, why are you watching the Paranormal Miners?
Well,
But
anyways,
regardless, you can actually do,
you can do a
um,
self-guided tour.
yeah, during the day. You go down, you pick up a pamphlet that tells you about the place, and you can just walk around.
Learn the history.
So I mean, it's nice. The architecture is amazing. I think the ceilings are like 20 feet high, and to see the detail in the crown molding and the amount of detail in the fireplaces. I mean, this, even by today's standards, this place was incredible. I mean, if you build a house like that nowadays, that'd be in the millions of dollars. Easy.
Oh, it would be more
Easy.
than that, I think. Self-guided tours for the mansion are free. Um, the ghost tours and investigation is actually what supports
Yeah.
the free tour guided.
They do take donations for the free tours. There's a donation box in the one room,
Yes,
and they do have a store that you can.
you can. I should have bought that soldier's picture.
Were they selling that? Because certain
Yeah,
things weren't for sale.
it was $10.
There was a painting of Prospect Place that if it was like under $50, I'd have probably bought it because it was a really nice painting of Prospect Place.
This guy's photo that they had of this Civil War soldier, his eyes were so piercing that it looked like he was looking at you, and no matter which way you moved, his eyes were going with you.
Yep, he was staring into your soul.
Kendra said, money back into this location is the best way to keep activity hopping to all the renovations. So keep the, yeah,
That's true.
it
Never,
is.
never thought about that, but renovation tends to stir things up. So, um, hopefully they like the renovation and don't get angry. I'd like to see that ballroom renovated because when you see it, it just doesn't seem like a ballroom.
Yes, Sheila, you're correct. With the Civil War, the Gettysburg Address, or not the Gettysburg Address, but Gettysburg, the Civil War part, the anniversary is coming up. And they were told, I didn't take the history tour because I didn't want to know anything when I was doing the walkthrough and such, but um, they were told that it be speculation that Abe Lincoln visited there from the board member that took them around. From what I understand, I believe that Abe Lincoln was friends with G.W.
Yeah,
Adams.
G.W. Adams was tied in. Like I said before, he was very politically engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he, being as powerful as he was, I wouldn't be surprised if he had ties with Abe Lincoln. And also, I was reading on the one excerpt from one of the historical books that uh, the parlor, the gentleman's parlor, they said there were probably a lot of different discussions there about,
Avila.
abolishing slavery. And they were, because, the abolitionists would have meetings there and discuss it.
Yeah.
So this is such an instrumental part of our history and kind of help shape the way we are today. And I fully believe that Abe Lincoln was there. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I think it's just freaking awesome. Abe and Adams were on the same mission, is what Sheila said.
Yeah, it's true. I think Lincoln, his abolishing slavery was more politically motivated, whereas I think G.W. Adams, he just literally did not believe that we should have slaves. Because he was a rich guy. He could have had all the slaves he wanted. And, he inherited such a huge piece of land and an estate. And he just said he didn't want slaves. He made it him and his brother made it their mission to help as many slaves as they could. So it's interesting. And actually, in the basement area, there are fireplaces in the basement that were there for the slaves. I believe when they built the house, there were certain parts that they built specifically with the Underground Railroad in mind. Um, but yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, sorry, we're talking in the chat. Um, the train wreck. We did not cover the train
Oh, we
wreck.
didn't. Yeah, and actually, I believe G.W. Adams owned the train company. And
Thanks, Sheila.
yeah, we did talk about the place burning, but the train wreck, we didn't mention. There was a freight train, and I believe it was stuck in the middle of the tracks, and a passenger train ran into it. I think that was the story, right? And even though there were, the person running the historical tour said there were no deaths that they knew of, they used the basement as kind of a makeshift hospital while they could free up space to
And
transport
no,
them.
there was no documents of death from that train incident.
Right.
I know some of the shows speculated and
Yeah.
made up stuff that there were people who were horribly burned or died there. No.
Well, there may have been horribly burned people there.
Well,
It's
yes,
possible.
but I mean, they didn't die from the
Yeah.
injuries.
Yeah, it was on Ghost Adventures. It was. The guy that used to own it said, "We don't know of anybody that died here in the train wreck." 10 minutes later, there they are in the basement. This is where there was a makeshift morgue. No, there wasn't. He just told you that.
Yeah, and that was G.W. Adams's great great grandson.
Yes, but he don't own it anymore.
No, he resigned from.
Mm-hmm. So it's changed hands a lot, and just hopefully.
There's also a legend. It's not proven that they had they called a sick room that was off the one balcony in the back, which Sheila is reminding me of now, called the sick room. And that's where one of the little girls, I think it was, or maybe there was two little girls, had TB and they stuck them in there. And it's rumored that one of the little girls with TB possibly fell off the balcony. Speculation, we don't have any evidence of it.
It may have been that balcony, but also there were there's a front entryway and a side entryway, and they used to have these really beautiful architecture on them, these wooden, I don't know, it's like wooden decor, and it was these pillars that went up. There was some decorative art on them, and there was actually a balcony on top that you could access from the second floor. And I'm pretty sure I took pictures of that stuff, and it's believed possibly too that could be the balcony they fell off of. Because it was wooden, it's not there. They're in the process of making replicas of that to put back up, which I hope they get that done before we go back because that would be really cool to see. But the railing on those balconies was only about knee high. It was very low railing, so I could see someone falling off of that one as well.
Yeah. Um, the only thing I picked up, like on the third floor, was the lady member. I said she was walking back and forth, and a lot of thoughts were going through her head while she was twiddling her thumbs.
Was that in the ballroom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because on the second floor, I seen the little girl running her hand across the wall. Remember, in
I
the
do
hallway.
remember that.
So our next show, Sheila and Mike, I believe, is also coming.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, right?
I think Sheila for sure, but Mike, if he don't work, he's coming. Right, Sheila? But they'll be on the show next show, and I'm sure we'll cover more of Prospect Place and other adventures.
Yeah,
And
I want to do. I want to try and get that video up by the time we do our next show, hopefully, if I can.
well, we told everybody they had a month.
There's a lot of footage. There's
Yeah.
like, I could probably literally make like a half hour to an hour long show out of Prospect Place.
Yeah.
And that's no joke. It was that.
Mike's planning on it right now, so
Just call off.
just call off.
He's sick.
You hear that, Mike? Just call off.
He's sick. That's why they have PTO days, right? So I think we're kind of tapped on this one so far. Do you have any good chat you want to share with us?
Hold on. Um. Oh, tell them about the pizza people.
Pizza people. Oh yeah, they say the delivery workers who deliver the pizza there won't go past the front gate. Some of them. Um, mm, like I said when I got there, the architecture and the slightly rundown state of the building does give it a very high creep factor. And I'm sure at night, there's definitely a lot of people, especially with the all the haunting rumors. They don't want to go there, and so they'll just meet them out by the gate. But then again, the gate's also blocked. So, oh yeah, yeah. She mentioned about the
Are they
portal.
are they lazy? Yeah, no, they're supposedly superstitious and don't want to come near the house.
They might be lazy too.
Oh yeah.
I just Doctor Tip. You know
We
what?
never ordered pizza.
I know. I'm just saying I would Doctor Tip. So you know what? You're too afraid, then you're not getting anything. Actually, we could just have somebody dress up as a ghost, and when they knock on the door, scare the crap out of them, so they just leave the pizza and run.
Honestly, Kendra, where we were at, it's pretty much where we live now. Um, it's pretty much farmlands and middle of nowhere.
It is. It's small town USA for sure. Down there, it really is.
I don't think they had to worry about being mugged, but they may be just lazy. They may not even be scared of the place.
Yeah, and the thing is, for being abandoned for like 30 years, yeah, there was some vandalism. There was some scavenging going on, but the house is in really good shape considering it sat for such a long time.
Sheila, I wasn't there for that, but Sheila says the board member told her there was a possible portal in the ballroom, which, it kind of made me wonder why they had a mirror turned around.
Well, yeah, and you walk in the ballroom and
There's this big
there's a
cross on the
giant
wall.
cross painted on the wall. that lent itself to a couple different rumors. There was rumors of a portal. People said they practiced witchcraft up there, Satanism. There were a lot of different claims that went into that building, and it's hard to tell. As far as when it was being used by the family, I don't think that stuff was going on. But when it was abandoned, who knows what people did in that place? They could have done all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah, and people are so disrespectful. Even if you break in to look at an abandoned place, don't tag it. Don't make a mess out of a place. It's not yours. Go home and do that crap on your walls if you want to go do that on somebody else's walls. It's disrespectful and it's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. But and that's the thing too, is like I've always.
But like I said, I didn't pick anything up in the ballroom. And Sheila, I think you said you didn't pick anything up in the ballroom. Um, Kendra, we did cleanse ourselves before we left, and I also had Palo Wood with me to cleanse, which I ended up having to cleanse Amber after the last cellar incident. Um,
You didn't mention that.
Mike, yeah, I didn't mention that. Mike ended up asking a couple questions, and Amber was fine. And I think Mike asked, "Is your body still here?" And right after he asked that, she got sick. Amber got sick, and I had to get her out of the basement, and I Palo, you know,
Yeah, I was napping in
cleansed
the
her.
car.
Yeah, Eric was out for the
Oh, it
count,
was like
but
3 in the morning. It was a long investigation.
it was. But after I palate cleansed her, she was fine.
Yeah.
Well, she was really tired, but the spirits on the Kinect thing that Mike had, you can see that they were like using her energy. So
Yeah. The Kinect was really. That was our first experience using it. But
yeah,
it was pretty cool. We'll go through that footage and put it up.
you know, all the devices we had, maybe a couple K2 hits, and a Kinect was the biggest thing.
Yeah, the REM pod really didn't do anything at all.
The red, it didn't go
I
off at
don't
all.
think we really didn't use the periscope, although they did have a 360. I think Mike had a 360, and that didn't go off really, that I remember. So sometimes you get tons of stuff on your equipment, sometimes you get nothing.
Yeah.
This one was a nothing, but
It may have been, well, on certain stuff it was nothing, but just the energy in the air. And you could feel somebody standing behind you and watching you everywhere you went. It was just crazy. And as soon as you walked in that front door, they all just rush at you.
yeah,
Because I think everybody even said they felt the energy the minute they walked in. Kendra said they had the 360 go off at Tala. Only once.
we had a 360 go off at Jenny Wade,
Yeah, we did.
and it was actually pretty impressive because if you would say, "Can you go to the next color?" it would, and it did that about 3 times. Um, Now, that's interesting because that's the only time we rarely have anything on the periscope. So when you do, it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, the periscope really, I think maybe our periscope went off once, and that was at a private investigation at the end.
It went off at the end. It went off in that one private house we did, but I'm not so sure that was paranormal.
Yeah.
It may have been.
The only time we've ever had the mini red pod go off was once in the Lachlan Town case.
Yeah,
So
and it was very good. That was a very...
Sheila said the red room at the Prospect Place gave her a really oppressive feeling. Is that the room that I wouldn't go in?
The one that had a clown in it. Yes.
Okay, so I wouldn't go in there.
They put it away. You went in it.
For like a split second, and then I came back out.
I think I'd have to look that one up, but I think you said it gave you weird feelings.
Okay, so there you have it, Sheila. I had weird feelings too when I got out of there.
I'd have to go through the footage on that one because I don't remember exactly. Because there was a couple rooms, that and the one that they were using as a workshop.
Oh.
You went in the workshop room and was like, nope.
Kendra, my stepdaddy got me this. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and it says Ghost Hunter. Then it has a picture of the asylum on the back.
I bought this myself. I made the logo. If anybody wants one.
We're talking about Tala. Stop it.
I'm just saying.
I'm
retarded.
That's Brian. I really can't wait to hear about your Tala experience because I didn't get to watch that show that time because Grandma was in the hospital, so I didn't even get to come to Gettysburg that week.
We will see one another soon.
In August.
Yeah. It's not actually that far away.
We have a couple things planned with Kendra this year for ghost tours.
Can't get enough of her.
Oh, that's what I was going to tell her too.
But yeah, we're still on. Sheila said she felt oppressed in the basement. See, it's funny because when I went in the basement, I thought I was going to be creeped out, but I felt so relaxed, so at home down there, despite the fact that the entry door was like your stereotypical haunted house.
Oh, where's your phone?
I can go get it.
Go get your phone.
Okay.
You have to hear this door. It was like you were opening up the door to the Munsters. And you're ready for Herman Munster to pop out. Like, sorry, he's going clear back to the room to get his phone because it's on the charger. Sheila, I felt okay in the basement. There was only once when Mike asked that question, I felt like I had to get away from Amber. So something was obviously trying to get me away from her. Because shortly after I got that uneasy feeling to get away from her, that's when she got sick. And I got her out of there. Is there any questions about Prospect Place that anybody has? I'm sure we'll be talking for a couple more minutes and then sign off. Kind of over our hour here, babe.
We don't have limits. They can't tell us what to do. Oh, right. Yeah, notification that we're live. Alright, so...
Oh, he's going to play the door creaking.
Hold on. You ready? Hopefully you can hear it. I really drew that out.
Sheila, I love your laugh at the end.
But that was the door.
That was the cellar door, so, I mean, as soon as you open it, it gives you this creepy vibe. But me, I love the Munster so much, so it kind of gave me a sense of walking in to see or Herman Munster.
It kind of was.
Turn your volume down.
Oh, why I had to turn it up so I could.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that was probably like my favorite door, which
It was.
they're fixing it now. So
I don't know that that's the door they're fixing.
yeah, they said the cellar.
Yeah, but there's a couple entrances to the cellar. So.
Save that for the Halloween episode. I think we will.
Oh yeah, I mean that can be used in so many different ways.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I should set it for my like text ringtone or
I'm
something.
probably gonna put it in the video somewhere
There you go.
at some point.
You know the one shot you have of the main door opening in Prospect Place?
Yeah.
You could play it there.
Yeah, see the one shot that I got was blurry, but the other shot that I got you could see people's feet when a door opened.
Tara, my most important advice to you would be protect and ground yourself. Write down in your journal what you pick up on. And I'm still learning this. Don't doubt yourself, because more and less likely it's somebody telling you something.
Yeah. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Because usually your gut feeling's right. Now I don't have these abilities.
You have an ability.
But I think, truthfully, that applies to a lot of things in life. Trust your gut. Because 9 times out of 10, it's right.
You have abilities that you just learned about.
Maybe.
So. But yeah, always trust your gut instinct. Never doubt yourself. Keep yourself grounded. Keep yourself protected. And you should be alright. And don't provoke things, because they don't like being provoked. And you're probably going to have something follow you home. Just.
Yeah, because, if you think about it, with the provoking, how would you feel if someone walked into your house and started insulting you or being aggressive towards you or
Poking you.
calling you out? Obviously you probably wouldn't like it.
Tara, I'm working on that myself too. But thankfully I have a good support team behind me. And they help me when I have questions or just need to talk. Thanks, Sheila. I try to give good advice. I need to take my own advice sometimes, though.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I still notice myself shutting down at times.
Well, I mean, I guess it's when you're going into a strange place, you can be guarded, but not too much to where you're blocking everything out, I guess.
See, sometimes I actually block out everything. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight for Mining for Spirits. Like I said, Prospect Place was an amazing place. Like,
it was. And I'm going to be dropping that video at some point so you can subscribe to the YouTube.
Drop the video.
Drop it like it's hot.
The beat. Chicka chicka.
That, yeah. Whichever one you want to drop. But yeah, you can click on the subscribe button and you will be given notifications when we go live, when I post new stuff, all that good stuff. So that's one way to do it.
Yes. And our next show, like I said, we should have Sheila and Mike. If not, we'll have Sheila. I'm sure we'll cover more topics that we missed at Prospect Place. And just talking paranormal.
Yeah. I had it wrote down and still forgot a bunch of stuff that we didn't write down.
Yeah. So our next show is July 14th at 8 p.m.
Yep.
With Sheila and Mike.
And remember, if you do miss the show,
you can go back.
Yep. It's always archived about an hour after we go off the air.
Absolutely. Now, if you have any questions or want to see us cover a certain topic of the paranormal field, just feel free to send us a message or comment below
Hmm.
and let us know, and we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, I think we should make a segment at the beginning of the show where we answer stuff
Yeah, we can do that.
if we have enough questions.
Absolutely. So think of your questions, comment below, or send us a message,
Yes,
and we will start filling in some questions.
absolutely.
Thank you guys for.
Yeah, thanks for the support. It's amazing to have this many people, on and watching, and we look forward to going back to Prospect Place again. And
Yeah.
until next time,
Bye.
we will see you later. Thanks for watching. Keep smiling.